There was a lot of change this past year in the city of Williston. Here's a recap of all these significant moments in 2025 and what awaits in 2026.
Williston faced a number of city leadership changes over the past year. David Peterson announced his resignation following a 5-month stint on administrative leave over internal concerns with workforce. The city commission named Captain Stephen Gutnick as Peterson's replacement. Tate Simbaluk, a longtime member of the city commission, stepped down after a threat was made against him and his family. The remaining members of the commission appointed Lucas Jovig to fill the vacant seat that saw 13 applicants. Former Fire Chief Matt Clark announced his retirement at the end of the year, which the city made effective in November. The decision comes months after the city commission made tough decisions to reduce funding for the fire department and turning down a matching FEMA grant. His replacement has not been named yet. Just a couple of weeks ago, Airport Director Anthony Dudas announced plans to take a new job in Nebraska as Williston Basin International Airport is set to record a historic year for passenger boardings. On the school level, several top board members decided not to run for re-election, including Chris Chunt, the man that led efforts to reorganize Williston's 2 school districts. Jason Germanson, a longtime Williston school administrator, officially took over as superintendent and earned high marks in his recent evaluation. Meanwhile, the district is still waiting the results of their latest audits by the state auditor. Several major Williston court cases were resolved in 2025. Ross Petrie is serving 25 years for possessing and manufacturing drugs and bombs in 2022. It required bomb squads across the state to help safely detonate them. Joshua Martinez is serving 2 life sentences for attempted murder charges after firing at police officers in 2023. Jordan Griffith also got a life sentence after shooting a person in the head in 2024. And in what was supposed to be a highly anticipated trial, parties announced a settlement in the Atlas Power court case where residents sought relief for excessive noise created by the Atlas Power data center west of Williston. The details of that settlement are ongoing. Meanwhile, several projects around Williston were finally completed. Construction on the Highway 2 and 26th Street intersection was completed, opening a new road through the Williston Square development. Taco Bell opened its doors years after being first announced, and finally, Williston State College has a new healthcare training facility set to welcome students in January.
There are some big changes coming to Williston in 2026, and we'll highlight those later this weekend.